Hello, hello. It is Jen Zoe here, and I am in a stall. And how about that? And I am with this little nugget. Her name is Peaches. And for those of you that have followed me, you guys know that I've been working with her for, gosh, at least a month. How long have we known each other, little one? So this little girl has been very tough to catch. And what I mean by that is she's been very tough to catch. And it's really interesting how everything that I do with horses is a parallel for life. So if you are just joining me and you've never been on one of my lives before, please introduce yourself and welcome. If you're back, welcome back. And I'd love to hear from you. And please comment questions. The more questions I get, the better I can serve you guys and serve this little one. And what I really discovered is this is Peaches. I'm gonna have to turn around. Can see you see how even when I just moved a little, she was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know what your intentions are with your behavior." And a lot of people like make have you ever heard of the phrase, when you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and me? Well, that happens a lot. It happened to me this morning. Someone made an assumption about me and jumped to conclusions. Do you guys remember that movie Office Space where the guy gets in the car accident and he makes like the jump to conclusions game? It's like a lot of times we jump to conclusions about what somebody is or isn't doing or their intentions based on what we perceive as their behavior. And what you might see as a 6, I might see as a 9. That doesn't mean you're wrong and I'm right or vice versa. It just means that there is a filter of values, a filter of past experiences and what's happened in their lives. Now you look at this little one. I just managed, look at her styling those new braids. And she has a very heavy mane, a very long mane, and it hangs on one side, and that can actually damage their neck muscles. So I've styled a braid on the other side to help her neck. But it took me, how long did it take me to continuously have consistent behavior so she could understand my intentions and not make an assumption about what that behavior meant and what conclusion she would literally jump to. And I love the parallels between what happens with horses in my world and what I do with the Zynergen Rescue Foundation, and how the foundation helps rescues and how I help horses and I help people. Like, it's the same stuff, you guys. Like, I went to my very first, oh, hi, hello, and welcome from Bangladesh. Wow, we're international here, guys. When I went to my very first Tony Robbins experience, I've been involved in working with natural horsemanship for, let's see, it was 2011. So I got involved in natural horsemanship in 2004. So I've been doing natural horsemanship for about 7 years. And I went to my first Tony Robbins experience and I thought it was a business seminar, you guys. I legit wore like a skirt and heels, and I didn't know there was a firewalk involved. I had no idea. But when I got there, watch what happens when I move. Like, see how she's like, I don't trust you. I don't trust that your intention to just readjust your stool, like, was is that behavior makes me still a little wary, right? And I'm not here. I got me a little handful of goodies, and I can offer them to her, and she may or may not be, and trusting enough to engage with that. We'll see. And I'm not even looking at her, but I'm on her challenging side. Like, in horses, their vision is very different than ours. Like, see how she keeps trying to look at me out of her left eye. But here we go. Let's see if she'll take a little nugget. All right, good. And then she'll probably go, "Uh-oh, I'm not sure about that." Right? So she put in the effort, and then she's like, "I don't know if I can trust that." So a lot of times people, when you are being judged by somebody, like, I get judged all the time, y'all. People, like, they judge what I'm doing. They're skeptical in the horse world, especially. People really are skeptical of what you're up to, what your intentions are, and what you're trying to do. And I get, like, daily. I get judged daily. So you have to have really thick skin and a ton of patience. Like, I'm sitting here with the patience of a saint with this horse. She's about the size of a Smurf. Like, I'm sitting on a little stool here by her bucket. She's a little tiny thing. She's probably about the same size as Tuesday. Um, my other little mini. Like I said, like I've kind of adopted this one. Her name is Peaches. And there, like, so I have to consistently show up for her, and say, I don't take anything you say, any of your behavior personally. And now she's like, oh, okay. Now, guys, I want to like really be clear that this isn't quote unquote about the food. Although right now it seems like it's about the food, right? Because she's got a whole big bucket of food here that she could eat, right? This is about me connecting with her with something that she wants and saying, like, you can trust what I'm offering. But it took me over a month to catch her. And I actually had to do something that wasn't ideal. We have what we call get to situations and got to situations. If you ever got life, like, yeah, anybody have kids here? Raise your hand if you have children. Like, even me raising my hand here, like, that's kind of a big deal that she didn't react to that behavior. Like if you have a little kid that's running out into the street, you're not going to go, okay, little one, let's not run out into traffic. No, you grab them by the hand and you pull them back to keep them safe, right? So we had a situation where it took me a month of working, and I did all of my natural horsemanship tricks. I did all of my things, and I really had to tap into something that was very, very different. And so I see now we can just say, okay, she can have a little nugget. And then I just take my hand away. Right. And it's really about not taking things personally based on her past experiences. And a lot of times when people lash out to you or misjudge you or have a perception of what your behavior is, really they're looking at it through the filter of their past experiences, their past trauma, or something that's happened to them. And one of the first personal development books that I ever read was called The Four Agreements. And I'm just scratching my hand. And like that's enough to get her to be a little bit concerned. And I've been in and out of her stall, all day. You say and spending time with her and saying, okay, now you have to put the effort in. You have to have the courage to be brave to know that you can trust what I'm going to do. And on my side of the street, to keep my side of the street clean, I have to say, I stand in my truth. I know who I am, and I will show up consistently to serve horses from all, of any size, shape, color, or background, right? And she's been one of the tougher cases I've ever really had to work with. And like I'm just watching her being able to stand here on this camera and be like kind of close to me and looking at me out of her right eye instead of her left eye. That's kind of a big deal for her to do today. But it took a lot. It took a lot of time, it took a lot of patience, and it took a lot of me having the willingness to show up consistently and say, I'm here to serve horses, right? And then to add that in, and I'm kind of tying it back into when I went to my first Tony Robbins experience. You hear who knows who Tony Robbins is, big guy, like has a lot to offer. And I said, oh my gosh, what he's doing with people, I'm doing with these guys. It's very similar. It's about building rapport, establishing respect, reinforcing that through a common language to build a relationship. And, if somebody is going to have a misperception about me, I'm just going to stand in my truth and say, no, this is who I am. I don't necessarily have to explain myself to you, but I will show up and my behavior will be consistent as I'm here to serve horses and people from all over the world, include Germany. Look at this. Look at her like making an effort. Like look at this. Like she's making an effort now because I've just taken the time to be who I am and stand in my truth. I'm not going to go to her and try to explain to her who I am. I'm just going to show up and show up with a positive attitude, show up consistently, and show up with confidence and full faith with God and source that what I have to offer her is something that'll be good to her. And I have to believe in myself and know that who I am will be somebody that she can trust will be good for her. Right. And how do I know what that is? Because I see the results and I see how it shows up. And as long as I just hold space for her, have consistency in my message for her, she can start to relax and trust. And no matter what has happened to her in the past, over however many years, I think she's about 10 or 11 years. Oops, I had a call come in. Whoops. And just the phone rang and that was enough to frighten her away and say, I don't trust you. You might be in this for you. You might not be in this for me. So I'm going to go over here and trust Mother Nature and I'm going to respond and react. And I'm going to lash out or run away, fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, freeze, or please. Right. So she went back to her old patterns of saying, I don't trust you. This isn't good enough for me, but she'll come back. as long as I continue to show up consistently and hold space for her, right? Now, who should you hold space for? In my persona intelligence course, I have something called the relationship labyrinth, right? And I've put her in my inner circle. It's like my assistant wants me to adopt her. We love peaches, millions of peaches, right? But it takes time. And you have to know who you can, who you should and should not invest in. You know, we can't all be Oprah and saying, you get a car and you get a car, but we can all be kind, right? Who gets your time? Who gets your time is what is one of the biggest investments you could ever make. And if you're sitting there pouring into people that aren't willing to come make the effort and have the courage to at least reach out and try and trust, then you can just stand in your space and be a shining example from afar, right? Until they're willing to reach out and be brave, right? Because I didn't want, like, it was not my goal to have to chase her down. I'm not going to, but I will sit here and hold space in a safe place in a container until she can. And I can continue to have this mission of building trust with her just by being who I am in my integrity with who I know I am as an individual. So the more you know who you are, the more you can believe in who you are, and the more you can love who you are, and then and that will expand your capacity to love too. Because God and Creator did not put us on this planet to judge each other and to be fearful of each other. We are here to love and have a loving capacity and to share, right? And look at her now, trying her hardest to be brave. Look at that. That's the first time she's done that. 12 minutes, right? That took merely 12 minutes of me just holding the space. And the more I show up, and I show up consistently, and I show up with a positive and a loving heart, with full faith and confidence that God is guiding me and I'm on an aligned path, the more I'm going to help this little nugget and the people that love her. If you're a professional woman, trust me, I know. You love horses, like this is for you. This is for everybody. But my professional women, you guys and moms out there, you want your kids to be confident. I want her to be confident and know who to trust. Right now, she doesn't have a clue who to trust. So she's trusted Mother Nature, and sometimes that doesn't serve. Isn't she cute? She just got her. Sorry. But there she is. There's little Peaches. She's very nervous. There she goes. She's trying so hard, and we love her so much. So remember that the next time somebody judges you and says, that you're doing something that maybe you're not, and stand in your truth and believe in who you are, it will change your life. Look at this little nugget, just trying so hard. She's being so brave to try and trust me, the situation, so we can go love on her some more. Millions of peaches, peaches for free. Look at her cute little braid. Beautiful soul. All right. Bye, Peaches. Love you.